Hello, good morning. Jo Bradley from the Centre of Hope again. Looking forward to introducing Phoebe Young, who is a grief blogger. So thank you for coming on, Phoebe. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good. Very good. Thank you.
Good. Would you like to just explain to people what a grief blogger is, please?
Yeah, so I write about grief. I've got my blog where I write in just a real open and raw expression of my personal experience with grief. I lost my dad in 2019 to cancer. And after he passed away, I spent a year or so in this kind of phase where I felt quite alone, quite disconnected. So I just felt a pull to start writing, really. So I started writing this kind of, it wasn't even really meant to be a blog. It just kind of, flowed through me. And I just wrote how I felt about the loss of my dad. And I decided to put it on a blog. So I put it on a blog and was quite surprised the amount of people that reached out to say that it made them feel less alone, that it made them feel understood in their grief. And it just really hit me that grief is such an isolating place to be. People don't feel comfortable to talk about grief. They don't feel safe in their own grief. They don't feel supported. So I just kind of rolled with it and started sharing, just really honestly. Like, it's very raw. Some of the stuff can trigger people. But just a real raw expression of exactly how I find grief. And yeah, through that, sharing those words, it's kind of just giving people that support that they need to know that they're not alone in the worst dark parts of grief, not just the parts that we talk about.
Yeah. Do you know what? When I first saw your grief blog, I found it incredible. And also the way that you've actually channeled that grief into your expression, like you say, brilliant. But I know that we have to look outside the box now, because with all this shutdown that we've not had a lot of help out there. And so this is about self-help, really, how to cope with grief.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant. Of course, you're going to be at the Centre of Hope.
Yes.
When we have Grief Week, yes. You're going to be there helping other people actually to connect with their words, to express themselves. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Because your blog's led to a book, hasn't it?
Yeah. So I started writing a book. It was my dad's story. Originally, it was just going to be a book for kind of me and my family. It just felt like something quite personal. So whilst I wrote this book, I've been training with Jo in her circle for about a year. So I've been using my mediumship in little bits that I've been doing. I just felt a real strong connection to my dad. So I started writing, and to me, it felt like I was really writing with him, and it was together we were making this kind of book. And at the end of it, I kind of read through it and I thought, no, there's something in there that just needs to be shared. It's about his journey with cancer, but it's within that, like, how much there is in life to be grateful for, to find the gratitude. And I called the book The Gift, and it is like, it's all those gifts that, although his journey was awful, it was devastating, but he constantly looked for the gifts and the passion and, like, why am I here? What is the reason? And it's a beautiful gift. So yeah, I published that in November.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Hopefully I will have a few copies of that in my on-site shop.
Yeah.
When we've got that open as well, so that people can actually reach out and buy a copy.
Yeah.
I have to say, the way that you have coped with your father's death, my father died of cancer as well. And the strange thing for me was when your loved one gets told that they're terminally ill, it's almost like you don't shut down, but you start to grieve before they go. But you can't do that grief outwardly. That's what I found.
Yeah.
And yes, grief, although everybody gets touched by grief.
Yeah.
But people don't, grief is like an illness because it's a physical pain, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we look at all the traditional ways of, counselling and this type of thing. But actually, again, and I've heard it from other tutors this week, self-healing is a big part of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's absolutely incredible how you've managed to use your mediumship and everything else and channeled it into your book, your blog, the ways that you express yourself. I'm really excited to be working with you.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Yeah. And I just think that it's going to be wonderful how you give other people, that wisdom
Yeah,
and sharing how because you've really gone on a journey. I've spent some of that time with you.
yeah,
And the grief I saw was so bad,
mm,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So I have to applaud you. You're one of the people that I have to applaud because you've really looked outside the box
yeah,
and you've really been spirit led on it.
yeah,
Well done.
definitely spirit led. It feels that to me. It feels like without everything around me now, I wouldn't be in the place I am. I've managed to kind of take bits from, yes, like the traditional counselling and things like that, but just really going a lot deeper into it, like the deep healing.
Yeah.
To kind of be you've got to save yourself in grief, haven't you? You can't just rely on all these outside sources. You've got to really go within.
Yeah.
And it's scary. You've got to be brave. Like, it is scary, but you can create, it's not going to be the same without them here, but you can create something that is just as magical.
Yeah.
And just to keep you moving forward and to enjoy life. Like, you should still enjoy life. You should still have.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they say that, don't they? Life is for living still.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
is life after grief.
yeah, yeah,
I think, the passion that you put into it, and with the Centre of Hope, as you know, I'm trying to bring all of the different gifts that people have got together so that we can offer coping mechanisms to people. That's what it's about, really. I have to say, you also do a message from a loved one.
yes,
Absolutely beautiful. I actually asked you to do one for my own mother from my father
yeah,
for Valentine's Day, actually, because they got married on Valentine's Day. It reduced my mother to tears when she read it.
yes.
But do you know what? I could visibly see healing taking place.
Yeah, yeah.
It was absolutely beautiful. And I know that you do those. Where can people get hold of you, Phoebe, other than through the Centre of Hope?
So I've got my Facebook page, Phoebe Young, where you'll see all of my grief work. Grief and Spirit is the thing that I've got it all on one big page. But yeah, so you can contact me on there. You can contact me on Instagram, or email phoebe@notextbook.com. My blog's No Textbook.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And where can they buy a copy of your book, The Gift?
Books on Amazon. So if you type in Phoebe Young, The Gift, then it will come up in Amazon, and you can get Kindle or paperback depending on what you'd prefer.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, do you know what? I'm super excited. I'm so happy for you because I've been part of your journey and you have just flourished.
Thank you.
And there aren't many people actually that look at the raw grief. We look for that connection through other people, through mediums. We don't actually look within to deal with it. So I think you're incredibly brave, and I know that you've got the ability to help others be brave as well.
Thank you.
So I look forward to working with you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Jo.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
And everyone who listens to this video, do make sure that you look out for Grief Week, because Phoebe will be one of the lovely people there helping us cope with grief and move through it. Thanks, Phoebe.
Thanks, Jo. Bye.
Bye-bye for now.